Hi Aquarius, Sun, Moon, Ascendant, or Venus. This is Dane, and I'm going to be doing your January 16th to the 31st, 2022 reading for you. Now I ask if this reading resonates with you. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. If you're interested in any of the cards that I'm using, they will be listed and linked in the description box below. Now before we begin this reading, let us clear the energy space, raising our own energy vibration and releasing any negativity. So take a nice deep breath in, exhaling whenever it feels comfortable for you. Releasing all negativity from the body like storm clouds, letting yourself feel calm, centered, and at peace as we enter into this safe and loving space. So let's see what the tarot has to say. Aquarius, January 16th to the 31st, 2022, Aquarius. Angels and spirit guides show me clearly. Oh, goodness. Aquarius, January 16th to the 31st. Angels and spirit guides show me clearly. Angels and spirit guides show me clearly. Angels and spirit guides show me clearly. At the bottom is our rooted self. The left-hand side is our inner self. The middle, our heart, our emotional self. The right-hand side, the public arena, the public self. So let's see what the cards have to say. We have the Death card, which is Scorpio energy. And we have the Chariot, which is Cancer energy. So if we have Scorpio or Cancer within our natal chart, that's coming through very powerfully at our root. This is also double water sign energy, right? Scorpio and Cancer. So that's going to come through very strongly. The moon is also going to greatly affect us, and we have the new moon on the 17th of January, and we have Pluto, which is also going to be very, very powerfully is going to affect us very powerfully because both of these are at our root. Scorpio is ruled by Pluto and Cancer is ruled by the moon. We have the Nine of Swords and we have Justice, which is Libra energy. Libra is ruled by Venus. So if we have Libra within our natal chart, that's coming through very powerfully here in our inner selves. And the heart is going to be very important to us. When we look inward, we also have to look at our hearts, Aquarius. We have the Page of Wands, fire sign energy, and we have the Knight of Wands, again, fire sign energy, Aries, Leo, Sagittarius, coming through very strongly here at our heart. So if we have fire sign energy within our natal chart, it is going to come through at our heart quite profoundly. We then have the Ten of Wands, and we have the Ace of Swords. The Ace of Swords is a gift just for us. We're represented by the swords in the major arcana. In the minor arcana, we're represented by the star in the major arcana. So let's look at the energy we have to be mindful of here. Angels and spirit guides show me clearly. We have the Chariot. So even though we have the Chariot at our root, we have to be mindful of letting our hearts kind of just be led. of letting our hearts get the better of us, pull us forward in one way or the other. So that's going to be very important. Just, yeah, it's a chaos of emotions. And it can be somebody else who has the chaos of emotions coming in and being like, this is the way it needs to be, or just being this drama, explosion that is very overwhelming for us. So just being aware of that, being mindful of that is going to be powerful for us. It's going to help change the way that we move forward. Let's look at our chakra energy. Angels and spirit guides, show me clearly. This is forgiveness. This is the heart chakra. To be able to open our hearts to forgiveness for ourselves, for the world around us, for, people within our lives, that's important. But the main person to forgive, as, first stated, is ourselves. Ourselves for being in a situation that we never wanted to be in. Ourselves for being too young to do anything. Ourselves for, so much we look at our lives and we say, we don't even know that we're accusing ourselves or we're angry at ourselves for this hurt, for this pain, until we start to forgive. And it can be something as silly. I mean, I had to forgive myself for not being able to hear very well when I was little, being slightly deaf. And that was something that was very overwhelming. And I didn't realize how impactful it was until relatively recently. So here, it can be something as silly as, why would I have to forgive myself for being born with a disability? But sometimes we do. Sometimes we have to forgive ourselves for the silliest of things that other people will look at us and be like, well, you had no control over that, or you were a child. Why would you put that on yourself? Or you thought you loved that person. Why would you doubt them? Why would you be distrustful of what they said? And we feel duped. We feel taken advantage of. We feel robbed, like it was easier for everybody else than it was for us. And this is a time where we have to forgive, because everybody's journey, no matter how ideal it looks on the outside, has a lot of chaos on the inside. And I think that's something that we don't like to admit to as human beings, but I think it is something that is very important to see and to understand, especially as we're growing, as we're becoming, as we're embracing who it is that we are. The transformation, the empowerment of us is so important. And we don't get to see that along the way as much. Or people, overemphasize certain things. No, it's like calmly stating, calmly realizing is going to be very powerful. Embracing the heart and letting our hearts fill with our passion is also going to be something, Aquarius, that really moves us forward in a spectacular way. Now we have the 16th. Let's talk about things astrologically before I just jump in. The 16th of January has the Sun conjunct Pluto, which comes through very powerfully here at our root. This brings deep and intense emotions to the surface. We want to expand and better ourselves and will not be satisfied. We just will not be satisfied with the easy road. So just be aware of that. There is also an amazing willpower to be harnessed on this day, and it can lead us to life-changing, absolutely life-changing roads ahead. On the 17th of January, we have the full moon in Cancer coming through, which is, again, very powerful. It's here at our root, and this is called the wolf moon. The 18th of January has Uranus going direct. Now, this is very important for us, Aquarius. We are ruled by Uranus, and so we feel it. When Uranus goes retrograde, which it did on the 19th of August, we felt our insides changing. We felt our inner world changing because our outer world was changing, and that's what Uranus brings. When Uranus goes retrograde, it brings inner change because of outer change in our lives. Now that we are seeing things starting to settle, now that we are going direct, we're going to see things starting to come into alignment, and we're going to take a lot of what we have learned during that retrograde period and really look at things with a much more practical, much more, distinguished, much more focused avenue of self and realization. On the 23rd of January, we have the Sun conjunct Mercury. Now, this is a fantastic aspect for artists and people seeking to create new roads, new ways, new opportunities within themselves and their lives. Now, because Mercury is in retrograde, this can seem rather frustrating to us because so many concepts that we're having, so many ideas that we are having, we have trouble bringing them forward, birthing them into reality. Let us not, make that what we see, let us not make that our only focus on the day. Let us embrace our active minds, our beautiful way of communicating with ourselves in the world, even though we have retrograde and so things get muddled. Let us not lessen our voice on this day. On the 24th of January, we have Mars entering into Capricorn. And if there is anything that we want to conquer, if there's anything that we want to go after, this is the day to do it. Here we have the warrior energy of Mars and the practicality of Capricorn coming together to make us almost unstoppable, quite frankly. The 26th of January has Saturn squared Lilith. Now, this is a very powerful alignment. Neptune is also known as the Lord of the Invisible Kingdom and has us looking at our dreams and at our heart's desire, while Lilith has us looking at our darker fears and our doubts. Now, this can make us feel overwhelmed because who doesn't want to be looking at the fears within their dreams, or who wants to have the fears within their dreams brought to the surface and be on their mind all the time? Yet, as we're looking at the fears of what we deeply want within our lives, it becomes empowering because we're able to say, okay, this is what I'm afraid of. Okay, this is what overwhelms me. And as we say it, we release its hold over us, or we at least start to lessen its hold over us. And there's nothing keeping us back once we start to break the chains. On the 29th of January, we have a couple of things happening. We have the Sun sextile Chiron, which this aspect shows us the wounds within our strength, which is, again, not something we necessarily want to see, but it's very good that we do see it. We see the weaknesses where we're really strong. And this can be something that really helps us to strengthen ourselves even more, or maybe to say, okay, you know what, maybe I don't have to be that, that rigid on certain things. Maybe I can open it up a little bit so that the thing that we see as a weakness isn't really a weakness. It's saying, okay, let the heart in. Let us, calm the matters here. That's going to be very important for us, especially Aquarius, which is very interesting. That hasn't come through with anybody else, but that is going to be a really beautiful way that the door really starts to open. It's like, okay, I'm going to see this as a weakness, yes, but this weakness is also going to bring me to a realization either to step back a little bit or to look at things in a different way. The weakness isn't actually a weakness, so just be aware of that. Also on the 29th of January, we have Mercury Retrograde conjunct Pluto, again, very powerful because of our root right here. This makes us greatly intelligent and deeply curious. Because Mercury is in retrograde, we can be all over the place with our curiosity and our discovery. Also, as air sign energy, we absolutely play into the discovery, the knowledge, the understanding. We want to go deeper and deeper and deeper. This can make us scattered on this day, but it doesn't mean that we're wrong. We're just gathering up knowledge that we might not use right away. The 29th of January also has Venus going direct. Now, this is important because Libra is ruled by Venus. This brings us out of a challenging life cycle, love cycle that began when Venus went retrograde on the 19th of December. So this has us looking at what we love and why we love it, and it has us opening up new doors to our hearts and new honesties to ourselves. The 30th of January has the Sun squared Uranus. And people can find us a bit abrupt and provocative during this time. But here's the thing. We can find everybody a bit abrupt and provocative themselves during this time. But we are going to be very driven to do the things our own way, to open up our doors, to see things and grasp this understanding with such passion, with such force, with such distinction that we really find ourselves moving in a way that we hadn't anticipated. It moves us to this place of rebirth. Now, Aquarius, we are all about our dreams and what we discover and freedom of self and expression and insight. And so when we have a rebirth of ourselves, it can be overwhelming at times. It can make us think, oh, well, maybe I wasn't heading in the right direction this whole entire time. Or, what is this transformation all about? How does it fit into the greater plans that I have for my life? We might not see all the answers here at this time, and that's going to be okay. But what we are going to see is that we are transforming as an individual. And as we embrace this transformation, we embrace who we are. We embrace what we love. We embrace the deeper insights and understandings of ourselves. We start to open up the door honestly and openly. And it brings us to the Chariot by saying, this is my heart. This is what I love. This is the way that I need to move forward. And I cannot forget me. Because we're going to have a tendency to put ourselves last, or to say, okay, this is me and I have to keep up with the Joneses type of thing, keep up with the Kardashians type of thing, and yet I'm forgetting what I love, what I want, what I desire within my life. This is listening to our subconscious and our conscious, that inner voice that speaks to us, and our outer actions. This is moving ourselves forward with honor for what we desire within life, what we want, what we need, how we see ourselves, how we embrace ourselves, what we're looking for ourselves. And it brings us to the Nine of Swords. The Nine of Swords is worry, doubt, and fear. We're going to be afraid we didn't get it right. We're also going to be afraid that we're not being just to everybody, that we're judging people too hard, that we're being too, harsh or this or that. And it's like, okay, listen, we could always do better. If we're going to play this game, it's an endless game. It's an endless game of coulda, shoulda, wouldas that get to embrace our whole entire life and hold us back in a myriad of different ways. What Spirit is saying here is, do not let doubts become what you judge yourself off of. Do not let regrets become what you judge yourself off of. The past is the past. We can spend our whole lives worrying, and we all know people who live within the Nine of Swords. Worry, doubt, fear, chaos, negative voices to each other and to themselves. The Justice card is saying be just. Be discerning about the energy you let in. Be discerning about the path that you walk forward. Be discerning about what you are embracing in your life for yourself. Because we are a student here of our passion, of our desires, of our insights, of what is coming to us, and how we are able to move forward with it. The fire moves us. We're not as developed in our passion, in our hearts, as maybe we would want to be. We have the page, the student. The knight is kind of like the worker bee, is very much the developing energy here, student energy, early 20s energy, kind of thing moving us forward. And it can also show us that we always need to have that level of discovery with us. We always need to be doing. It isn't going to be the time to sit back. That's also it. It isn't the time to sit back and just see what happens. It is the time to make things happen, to go after, to, look at things differently, to open up our eyes, to open up the door. And as we do this, we're going to be seeing the 10 of Wands. And what's so interesting here is it looks like she's burning at the stake, right? With everything that she's carrying, with everything that she has, it's burdens and demands and overload. And it's repeated like a mantra. These are our burdens, the demands, the overloads that we have. The way that we think, oh, I'm supposed to be doing this. Oh, I have to be doing it like that. And what Spirit is saying here is like, why? Why does it have to be this way? And we're going to start to see that either we can kind of burn with these beliefs, or we can set ourselves free. We can say, I'm not carrying this fire anymore. I'm not carrying these doubts and these fears and this chaos. And I'm embracing the Ace of Swords, which is success and change and decisions and actions. And as this opens to us, as clarity starts to come in, it's like, oh my goodness, the wind puts out the fire, and the wind flames the fire in a way that moves us forward towards what we are truly good at towards what we love and want and what we need to see. There's a real sense of, look at your voice, look at what you desire, look at what you're drawn to. Either it's a thing to say, listen, this isn't good for your energy vibrational level. You're bringing yourself down with too much true crime and too much, horror films and too much, this and that's really starting to wear on us. Or it's, look that you're drawn to something quieter, something peacefuler, something more peaceful. There we go. Something beautiful. Do we have that in our lives? Or is our life chaos after chaos after chaos? The Ace of Swords is coming through and cutting through doubts and fears and negativity. It's cutting through everything that holds us back. And it brings us to our subconscious energy to be mindful of. And it's the Death card. So as we're blessed by the Death card, we're also needing to be mindful of secrets and lies. And it can be the secrets that we keep from everybody, even ourselves at times, and the lies that we tell ourselves to get through the day. And the lies that others tell us. There's a real sense here of, I need to dive deeper. It brings us to our subconscious chakra energy, which is personal power. This is the solar plexus chakra. I need to embrace my personal power. I need to let myself shine. I need to move forward with this distinction, with this honor, with this independence, with this power of self. It brings us to our subconscious rooted energy, and that's the Empress. The Empress is giving birth to what we truly want within our world, what we are trying to create. It's letting it come out. It's letting it move forward within our lives for us. It's opening up the door and saying, I see me. The Empress is also the Eternal Mother. It is embracing our love. It is embracing our nurturing. It is embracing our caring and our compassion. And it leads us to our subconscious inner self. And that is the Four of Cups. And the Four of Cups is a blessing coming in that isn't seen because we are too busy focusing somewhere else. So be mindful that this is going to come from left field. This may not even feel like a blessing, but it's going to move us forward in a way that we hadn't imagined. It brings us to our subconscious emotional selves, and that is, again, the Ace of Swords. God, Source, Spirit, however you see the divine, the universe, is handing us a gift of insight, of ideas, of knowledge, cutting through doubts, fears, and negativity to say, this is where I stand, and this is what I want. It's clarity. It brings so much clarity into our hearts, into our arena, into ourselves. Our hearts and our mind are also working together here. It brings us to our subconscious public arena self, and that's the Wheel of Fortune. Here it is karma and destiny. We're going to see change moving us forward. Some things come in, and it's karmic. It had to happen. But we're going to see change guiding us in a way that we hadn't anticipated. We feel like we're on a roller coaster ride at times, but that roller coaster ride is one that brings us to an ending that we just hadn't expected, and brings us to a power we didn't know we needed to embrace. All right, Aquarius, I hope this reading has resonated with you. I wish you nothing but light, love, peace, and happiness. May harmony always be with you. I'm sending loving, healing energy to each and every one of you. I love you all, and stay safe. Let's end this reading with a meditation, a clearing away of negative energy, a raising of our positive energy as we embrace the power and the intensity of this time. So take a nice deep breath in, exhaling whenever it feels comfortable for you. May you move forward in peace and in harmony, Aquarius.